All right, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Does anybody have any shares or wins for the week or any aha moments, perhaps?
I'll share something if that's okay.
That's awesome.
We had our second coaching call today, our one-on-one. And you know how sometimes, like when I first started the program, the question was, well, do I really need that one-on-one coaching or not? But even today, after our call, it's so valuable. It gets you back on track. Not that I've been off track, but when you're doing something for so long, which for me, this is kind of long, I just appreciated the way that I felt after we got off the call. I had a renewed energy for my goal and a new perspective on exercise, which is something I'm having trouble with.
That's awesome. I really felt a good connection with you today in our call. We just were kind of, it was a really good conversation. And so I'm glad that you appreciate it. I felt good after that call too.
Me too. So I just wanted to share that because that was like, wow, I feel good. I'm grateful I have coaching.
No, that's awesome. And we've got new people, brand new. Evelyn's brand new. Jane is probably right about where you're at.
Yep.
Um, and Teresa's a graduate. So we've got kind of people all over the spectrum as far as program goes. But I'm glad that you shared that because anybody watching this replay, and a lot of people feel the same way. Oh, I don't need the coaching. I show up to the one-on-one. But sometimes just getting that different perspective, and it was more personal to your workout plan and your desires and what you're able to do and all the things,
Yep.
your calorie intakes. And so we were able to make it really specific for you. And we have we were able to set a plan in place. So if you
Yeah.
haven't made your coaching call and you're several weeks in and you haven't even had one, it's time to book your call. So thank you for saying that, and I appreciate you sharing that because every time you guys, those of you who have been in the trenches for a while, I really think it helps the brand new people feel a little bit better and more comfortable about the program because I know we give you guys a lot. It's overwhelming, lots of things to think about, and calories and meal prep and all these different things. So thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, and
Welcome.
Evelyn says thank you too as well.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So, you guys, I'm in San Diego visiting my grandson. I'm having a blast. I got here yesterday, but it was so some of the non-scale victories of this program, which are so profound, and I'm much more grateful to the other things that are happening in my body besides the weight loss. I mean, we got on the plane and we were all ready to go. And then they said that there's a warning light that came on. So they had maintenance. So we were on the runway for 45 minutes in the heat. And then they had to switch planes. And so we had to wait for another plane. So what was supposed to be a quick 3 hour thing ended up with me being on an airplane for over 5 hours,
Oh,
and in the airport but what I want to tell you is that when I went there the last time before I started this program, I got off the airplane and it had been seamless, only 3 hours, and I could hardly move. I could hardly get from the gate to where the car was in San Diego. And this time I got up, no knee pain, none. Number one, I could sit in the airplane in the seat and I felt comfortable, not squished in, but the comfort of my mobile for over 5 hours was like a gift from, I
the
mean,
comfort of your what? It kind of glitched.
my body. It was
Oh,
all, it wasn't in pain from sitting. I used to like go out to lunch with people and have to like brace myself to get up. Now it's just like I get up and I walk out and I'm not sore. So there's so many more benefits to, I think, repairing, our gut and the joint, the inflammation. It's just, I don't think I could ever go back to feeling that way. I certainly never want to go back to feeling that way. And here I am traveling, and Tammy, you're going to be proud of me. I ate a hard-boiled egg at the airport. Remember, you told me, and I go, oh no, I ate one, and I said, this is fuel. It's going to be fine. And
Were you okay with it when you were doing it, or were you?
oh, it was okay. Yes, it wasn't great, but I was grateful to have a protein that I could eat. And then, and I even got those bars Dr. Infantino recommended, the Epic meat bars. And
Okay.
once you get over that, they're okay, you
They're
know.
not bad. They're not my all-time favorite, but it's a psychological thing. It's
It
like,
is, it is. And
why
I
is
just
it
think of it
sweet?
as beef jerky. I mean, as a jerky instead of it's not a bar really. It's shaped like a bar, but it's just meat.
Yeah,
So, but anyway, so it was so much easier to travel, so much more comfortable. I'm picking up my grandson and having a great time.
love that. And I love how you said it's a non-scale victory. It is it's not all about the scale. That's why a lot of people get here, but it's just that's a pesky little side effect is that the scale starts to move. It's all the other things that come with it. And the
Yeah.
reason why the scale is where it is usually because there's inflammation and because there's disruption in the body and things are off of balance. So I'm so happy that you're feeling this and you're just a little over about halfway through, I think.
Yeah.
So by now you are feeling the effects of inflammation coming out of your body. So like you said, less pain and just quality of life. You get to sit. I can't even imagine being in an airplane for 5 hours, especially if it's not moving and they won't let you out. Ugh.
Yeah. The
So,
guy next to me really did enjoy the epic snack though. He was, he was so sweet about it. He goes, thank you for feeding me. And
um,
I go, yeah, I'm a food pusher, but at least I'm pushing healthy food on you this time. So,
yeah, there's a lot of food pushers out there, and it's usually not the case.
yeah. So anyway, very happy to be able to travel a little with a lot more freedom.
Awesome.
I have a quick share.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've been studying this book on nitric oxide, and it's talking about how um, powerful it is in your body, and that as you age, it decreases, and that your body has a redundancy of how to um, create it or how to create it in your system, and that is to eat the leafy green vegetables and the things that provide that, the beets and whatever, whatever, celery, romaine lettuce, whatever. So I googled all that, but what it said was there's three things where as your body starts to naturally do this less, it's to eat these foods, which you guys already encourage. And then the second thing was that your oral bacteria needs to be receptive to transferring this. And then the third thing is your gut bacteria. So it was kind of nice. I felt good as I'm learning about all this. This was saying don't, like, mouthwashes are not that great. Fluoride toothpaste is not that great because they're like antibiotics, that they will eliminate the bad, but they also eliminate the good. And that decreases this transfer of nitric oxide. But anyway, the point was that this program has given me such a boost
Well,
already that I feel like my gut is in so much better situation than it was. But so, I mean, obviously I don't know how to measure my gut biome per se. But I know that my output is better. I know that my tummy feels better. I know, what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's given me a boost, and it's just one more foundational brick that, oh yeah, I'm getting further ahead and further ahead and further ahead. So I guess my message is there's more good things to come. I'm through with the program, so supposedly,
how
what I'm
long
saying,
have
as
you
far as
been, how long ago did you
I
graduate?
started in November. I started in November
Okay.
of last year. So it's fun for me that the good dominoes don't stop rolling, and so anyway, there's all the work you're putting in now for everybody, it's just gonna, the ripples keep of happening. So anyway, that was
I
fun.
really appreciate you sharing that. So thank you so much. It's very inspiring because there's going to be days when we don't feel like it. But then when you hear this kind of talk, like even after graduation, you're still kind of hanging in there. You're still paying attention to protecting your gut biome and your oral hygiene as well, and eating foods that promote the nitric oxide effect in the body. So just having that continual progression, you're just still getting better. And even though you're not technically on the program, you're still following the guidelines and you're still seeing improvements. So that's awesome. I
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all you've taught.
appreciate all that. Yes,
Can I ask a couple questions?
sure.
So we can have tea, but we can't have caffeine in tea, correct?
Naturally caffeine-free organic herbal tea is allowed. So
All right.
like chamomile or mint, any kind of mint, ginger, cinnamon tea, like the fruit teas, even if you're not on fruit yet, the fruit teas, as long as they're not sweet or having added sugar, like a blueberry tea or a peach tea, as long as there's no added sugar, there's those hot teas that you can make that are.
Well, I have one that I had been drinking, but it has caffeine in it. I would have 1 cup a day, but it's blueberry something, green blueberry tea.
Because it's green, that's why. Yeah.
But so I can't have that, correct?
No, correct.
All right. And then when you cook your like chicken and stuff, like, because usually I bread stuff, so I don't know how to. I don't mean to sound stupid. I don't know how to cook without breading stuff. So do you guys have any suggestions? Like fish or
Why do you bread it in the first place? Like I cook it
if I made chicken parmesan, so like I would dip it in egg and then I would have it in Italian breadcrumbs, and then I would like lightly fry it and then put it in the oven. So that's how I
So
make.
you could still do the egg and you could still do the spices. You're just not going to do any flour like breadcrumbs or gluten things. I just put mine in the frying pan with a cooking spray or avocado oil and then season it however I want. So if I'm putting cumin and chili powder and garlic and salt and pepper, it's going to have more of a Mexican flavors. Or if, Italian, I'll just put it in there and I'll add a tomato sauce with garlic and oregano and basil and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I just don't add that's how I cook. I'm sure someone else might have an idea. There was a chat, but I don't see it. It disappeared. You can open chat.
Oh, Shauna said I just bake or fry with salt and pepper for now.
Now you can have flavor. Don't be shy. Add lemon, add lime, add turmeric, add your flavors. A little bit of spaghetti sauce. Put it in a little bit of the coconut milk, which doesn't come back till after the first cleanse. But you can make a chicken curry in like a cream sauce with curry spices, curry and turmeric, and some pepper if you like it hot. There's just so many things. There's so many recipes in the book. Just maybe start following some of those.
Okay.
Not like how you used to do things is how you used to do things. Starting just the recipes in the book, that might be a good place to start because it's going to give you exact directions with half a cup of this and a teaspoon of that, and this is how long you cook it for, and this is at what temperature you bake it for, or stovetop, or whatever the case it's telling you. But it's going to give you the instructions. So you don't have to worry about how to cook it. It's the recipes will tell you how to cook it. And those recipes.
I used the book yesterday, and John said, "Wow, this is kind of bland." And I said, "I think, after a while, it's gonna taste."
You don't be afraid to apply your pepper and your other spices. So if it calls for a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of pepper, for example, and it's bland, next time make a whole teaspoon or whatever spice. Lots of garlic, lemon. I like lemon or any citrus on my chicken.
Okay.
or whatever the recipe is calling for. If it's bland, just double up on your spices, the spices that you already know you like.
Okay.
So I do not want it to be bland because I want you to stick with it. And I want you to be excited. We're going to talk about that, is making things attractive, making this new lifestyle more attractive is one of the ways we can, stick to it. So let's that's a good segue. So today, we got more people joining us. Awesome. Oh, okay. So here's the chat. Uh, when when we're eating for more life, the bar is okay. Yes. She was talking about the bar. Okay. All right. So anyways, I've got some shout outs. We'll talk about the atomic habits, talk about smart goal setting, step-by-step habit creation, the 4 laws of behavior change, habits to consider starting, and then of course, Q&A. I've just got a couple shout outs. Sherry, she's just started. She's in the very early stages, first couple of weeks. She's already down 15 pounds, and she can tell a huge difference in her energy, which was one of the reasons why she got here. Evelyn, she's on the call today, down 9 pounds before she even started the program.
Now I'm at 11.
Now you're at 11. I knew you would. I wrote this a couple days ago. So.
Yeah, it's 11.
Dyson, I just did her transition call with her, and she finished out with 41 pounds down. So
Wow.
congratulations to Dyson, and she had obstacles like more than some other people, and she still hung in there. And then Kathy, she's down 20 pounds and doing great as well. So congrats to all of you guys, everybody, you guys on this call, all the non-scale wins, being able to go through an airport without aches and pains like that. So congratulations to all of you guys. All right, so I just wanted to put this up there. Atomic Habits, book by James Clear. And if you can go to YouTube's and get lots of little snippets. And I encourage you to do that because that's kind of where I got a lot of, I have this on tape, but you can get little shorts on it, but little really helpful tips. But that's kind of where I got the content that I'm going to present with you today. But I definitely encourage you to go to YouTube and listen to some of the shorter versions. You can listen to the whole book on tape for sure. You want to get through that, but I'm going to kind of break it down into little snippets for you today. But again, to get this stuff in your head, repetition is the mother of mastery. So listen to this call today, take your notes today, and then go back to YouTube and watch some of his version of it or other people's takes on it, what he's saying in the book. I think you'll find it tremendously helpful. There's so many things that may be new for you. You're starting this new program and you're like, oh my gosh, calories, cooking. How do I cook? How do I meal prep? How do I meal plan? How many calories are in an apple? How do I do this? How do I write my journal pages? How do I turn my stuff in? There's a lot of moving parts to what we're asking you to do. And some of it feels really uncomfortable. So just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And today we're going to go over goals and habits and all of that stuff. So with that, I'll start with some goals. Now, Monday, we did a deeper dive into the different kinds of goals. We've got performance goals. We've got the outcome goals. And these goals are really, really good to have because they push us. They push us to move forward and fast and improve our abilities. The goals encourage us to practice and rehearse and challenge ourselves. If our goal is to lose weight or if our goal is to do a certain physical thing like run a mile or run a marathon or whatever it is, and we have different process goals to get to these ultimate performance goals or end, what am I trying to say? Outcome goals. The main thing we want to do is make sure they're SMART goals. So as you can see, it spells out SMART, but you want to make sure it's specific. So on Monday, we talked about their subjective goals. I want to feel healthier. I want to feel better. I want to lose some weight. That's not very specific. But if we have an objective goal of I want to lose 25 pounds or 30 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever that is, that's very specific. And that way you know you're on your way to getting a SMART goal. You want it to be measurable. So 25 pounds is measurable as you're going through each week. Am I losing my 1 to 2 pounds every week? Am I on target? So yeah, that would be something measurable. If you say I'm going to lose 25 pounds in the next 3 or 4 weeks, is that achievable? Well, if we're doing 2 pounds a week in a month, that's about 8 pounds. If you're extra lucky, that's closer to 10 pounds. So 25 pounds in a month might not be an achievable number. So we might have to scale that back. And that way you don't disappoint your own self, right? This little visual here, the R is realistic, but I like to switch that out for relevant. Does it match my values? Does it match what I believe in? Does it match the other goals that I have in my life? And so I believe the analogy I gave, well, I would love to become a doctor myself. That's very specific. It's measurable. I can take all the classes I need to become a doctor. Is it achievable? Sure. I'm very capable of learning. Financially achievable, that might be another story. But I could take out a loan. It is possible. But is it relevant to my goals and values of what I really want? Well, at my age, in 10 years, I'd like to be retired. I'm in my 60s. So in 10 years, I would like to be retired. So it really does not go in alignment or match the values of what I really want. So becoming a doctor is a great goal or aspiration, but maybe I might shift that to become a little bit more relevant to the goals of where I'm at and what I'd like to see myself be or do or have in the next 10 years. So I might scale that back to maybe just like I'm taking that functional nutrition course and getting better at what I do. And I'm still improving my skills, but it's more in alignment with the timing and the cost and everything else. And then, of course, the T is timing. You got to give it an end date. You got to give it by a time. So if I want to lose 25 pounds in the next 2 or 3 months, that's very measurable. That's achievable. It's relevant. It goes along with my values and my goals. And there's a time that makes sense. So that's why we want to make sure that our goals are SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. All right, so speaking of goals, what do you think is better, goals or systems? Now, we know goals are very important. They make us work harder, which helps us improve our skill, which helps us get better at whatever it is we're trying to do. But would it be a fair statement to say that you've got 2 football teams? You've got the Green Bay Packers and you got the Dallas Cowboys. Would it be a fair statement to say both of those teams have a goal of winning the championship? They both have the same goal, but guess what? Only one of them is going to win when they're playing each other. Only one of them is going to win that game. So while goals are fabulous and wonderful and hopefully very SMART goals, what's more important are the systems. If my goal is to save $1,000 by the end of the year, if I could say, well, I'm going to save some money, that's not a SMART goal because it's not specific, it's not timely, it's not measurable, it's not attainable. What does that even mean? It's not specific enough. But if I say I want to save $85 a month, I'll have $1,000 by the end of a year. So that's a system. And if I have my bank automatically withdraw that $85 every month, it's automatic. I don't even have to think about it. And when I'm going into my bank and it's already gone, I'm not spending that money on something that I might want in the moment. So having little systems like having your meal prep, like having frozen proteins and frozen veggies in your freezer in a pinch. So in a last minute, someone else ate my lunch I was going to have or my dinner. If you have a piece of frozen fish and some frozen, broccoli and carrots, you pull those out and you thaw them out and you can make something. That's to me a system. To me, a system is my meal prep on Sundays. That's how I roll. I meal prep on Sundays. And I also set a rule that I can't be more than an hour in my kitchen. So I just make things that I know are quick. But that is part of my system. Part of my system is going through my cabinets and my freezer and my pantry before I go to the grocery store so I don't spend too much money. Oh, look, there's ground turkey. But if I see it on sale, I'll buy a few extra, keep it in the freezer. So when I do my inventory, I see I have ground turkey. I don't need to buy any. So there's certain systems. Putting your workouts in your calendar with a time and what you're going to do when you get to that gym or what you're going to do on that day. So if Monday at 6 p.m. you're going to do a leg day, the brain loves clarity, but you've got to get it in your calendar. That's part of your system. If I say I'm going to work out 3 times this week or 4 times this week, that's kind of a goal, but that's not a system. All of a sudden, it's going to be the end of the week because we all have busy lives. We have kids, we have jobs, we have bills, we have deadlines, all the things. And all of a sudden it's Saturday and I haven't worked out at all. But if I put it in my calendar and go Monday's leg day and Wednesday's chest day and Friday is back day and Saturday's going to do some core, whatever my idea is, if it's in my calendar, that's more of a system. You're going to succeed and get farther with your systems. And James Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So your systems, you guys who show up on a regular basis, that's part of your system. That's why I keep them at the same time each week so that you can build a routine, build your system. Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific time, that's when you're going to show up, or that's the time you're available to come. That's part of your system. So making sure you have some kind of systems in place. And if that's still confusing for you, get with me on a one-on-one call. And based on your lifestyle and your job and your hours at your work and the age of your kids and what you do outside of work, I'll help you build some systems. So again, that's why those one-on-one calls are important. All right, so massive change versus 1% shifts. What do you think? I mean, we're asking for big goals. Some of us want to lose 100 pounds. Some of us want to, get off medicines that we've been on for years. Let me see what's in chat. 1% shifts. Yes, 1% shifts. Awesome. So Tony Robbins, he says it a lot. He calls it get out your map, get out your massive action plan. And I would prefer, and James Clear agrees with me on this one, but you can get out your map, but it's a micro action plan. And in James Clear's book, he says improving by 1%, 1% improvement every day for a year, you will be 37% better. And can you imagine being 30% better by the end of a year? And you want to keep practicing all of these food and meal prep and exercise and sleep habit ideas that we present. The more we practice them, the better at it we get. That's who we become. And habits are basically compound interest of self-improvement. So we're practicing these habits on a regular basis, but 1%, just shifting 1% every day for a year, you're 37% better. And one of the examples, I might have even been Tony Robbins. giving this example, but he says, even if you've got an airplane and you get it up in the sky and it shifts 1%, just 1%, if it's aiming from New York to LA, you shift it by 1%, it might even end up in Alaska. I mean, it's going to end up not in LA and maybe not even in California. But just shifting 1%, it doesn't feel like much. So I want you guys to know you don't have to change everything you're doing in one day. Just take little teeny tiny steps. On Monday, we talked about process goals. So we have the big goals. Okay, I want to lose this much weight, or I want to get off these medications. Those are great big goals. But if we just now focus on the little processes, well, what do I got to do? I got to move my body. I got to eat right. I got to get good sleep. And I got to do these certain things. Those are the little processes. Those are the 1% shifts that we've got to incorporate in on a regular basis. All right, so willpower versus discipline. Oops, back. Why did come back? All right, willpower versus discipline. Anybody want to guess? Yeah. Yeah, so willpower is great, but it tends to fade. When we sign up for a program like this, I talked about that in the cycle of success. We have that uninformed enthusiasm. We are excited. We don't know what we're going to have to do. We just know that what Dr. Infantino said in that webinar that attracted your attention, that resonated with you, and you're like, yeah, it's got to be about my gut. It's got to be about my liver. It's got to be about my hormones in balance, all the things. And we are so excited. We don't even know what's going on. We don't even know. But after a little while, you start the program, you're like, then you get that informed pessimism, like, ooh, meal prep, cooking. I don't really cook. I don't want to cook. Counting calories. Oh, this isn't fun. So then we start to lose that willpower. And guess what? That's where we can tend to fall out. We end up in that valley of despair. So if we have little disciplines, which basically are the little process goals, again, I did a deep dive on those process goals on Monday. But having little tiny disciplines will help us get to where we want to go. We cannot rely on willpower, because I'm not going to eat the cookie. I'm not going to eat the cookie. If I'm focused on the cookie and focus on the cookie, before I know it, I'm going to blow and I'm going to eat the whole bag of cookies. So we want to have little disciplines. Okay, so I can have the cookie, but not till tomorrow. So practicing delayed gratification. These are little disciplines. Or how can I make a cookie in a healthier fashion? And set yourself up to find that recipe and create it on your day off when you have time to go make it. That would be a good little discipline. Let's see. I have a better appreciation for our grandmothers and great grandmothers. Yes.
No microwaves. I'm learning. I told John, we can't put it in the microwave, honey. We have to cook it on the stove.
Yeah. Is that someone said they appreciate their grandmothers for that?
I do.
Was that in regards to no microwaves?
Yeah, no, well, having discipline, and they, made sure the meal was on the table, and they had to do it old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
They appreciate things a lot more.
Well, it became a habit. That's what you did. And boy, that's a great segue to who you are. So back in the day, when a woman got married, commonly, especially the great grandmothers, and at my age, even my grandmother, who we became was a wife and a mother. And the attachment to what that looks like is we are the cooks, we are the chauffeurs, we clean the house, we prepare the meals, we do the grocery shopping, we do the laundry. Like, that's who we become. And then it just becomes a habit. We change, we improve. Like the day you get married, you don't know how to do all those things. So we learn different recipes, and we learn how to provide for our husbands and do the laundry and do all those things that back in the day, when one income was enough, for a family, and the moms did get to stay home. But who you are becoming is a huge part of behavior change. It's because we can do a habit for a certain amount of time, but if we become somebody who's living a healthy lifestyle, if we become somebody who makes healthy choices, if we become somebody who is making better food choices, or become a student of nutrition and just start and have a learning or a desire to learn more about it and how to eat to make your body healthier. Just doing little tiny things. And like I said, that 1% improvement. So if I am becoming someone who exercises regularly, even if I get out there and do, 4 squats and I'm done, I'm cooked, that's it. Okay, that's great. Maybe the next time I'll do 5. And if as long as I just do my bare bone minimum, if I increase it each time, A, I'm building my belief in myself and who I am becoming. And B, we're getting stronger. We're improving that 1%. So the next time if I do 5, and the next time I do 6, and I continue to improve, you start becoming an exerciser. You show I am a regular exerciser, or I don't miss my exercise, even when you're tired. If you get up and just do the minimum, it's a way to create that new identity for yourself. And yesterday I did a deep dive on that. It's basically the thermostat you have for who you think you are, what you think, and what you believe you're capable and worthy of. So we've got to remind ourselves that we are becoming that healthier version. Dr. Infantino said, when I first started working for him, he started talking about how, well, yeah, anybody can come on this program and lose their 40 or 50 pounds, but they don't get to own it until they've done it, they've kept it off for a year. And Dr. Infantino is a really, really nice guy. If you guys have any background sounds, you might want to mute. And then please, by all means, unmute if you do have a question. We have a small group today, so I no problem, answering questions in the middle. But Dr. Infantino said they don't get to own it until they've kept it off for a year. And I thought, it didn't sound like him, because he's a really, truly, his heart's in the right place. He wants to put the hospitals out of business, like really nice guy. And I'm like, that sounded so harsh, but it makes sense when you come think about, like, if you keep that weight off for that year, you have become a healthier, fit person. That's who you are. You automatically tell the waiter at the restaurant, no, I don't want potatoes. Can I please get extra vegetables? You don't even think about it. It just comes out of your mouth, because that's who you have become. So changing your identity, there's the exercise we did yesterday. There's another one in the module 2 of the course, which you can find in the drinfantino.club, and then click the learning tab, and it's in module 2. So do the writing, write out who you want to become, and then look for ways that you're already doing those things. And that's the way to prove to yourself that I am a healthier person. I am making those good choices. I am learning more and more about nutrition, and I am learning to love healthy eating. So the I ams, how you finish that sentence, is very, very impactful. So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful when, oh, I'm such an idiot. And I'm the queen of that. You got to catch yourself, because your repetition is the mother of mastery, as I said. So every time I say, oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, you dork, you idiot, whatever. You're telling your subconscious mind, you're reinforcing that. So we've got to reinforce something different. Our affirmations have to become something different. We've got to raise our standards and raise our thermostat. This is Jim Rohn. He says, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is who you become. He says what you become, but who you become. Success is not to be pursued, is to be attracted by the person you become. So I just really like that. And If you ever go to YouTube and listen to Jim Rohn, he's inspiring and he's funny. So he's entertaining as well. So, and you'll get a lot of aha moments from Jim Rohn. So I encourage you to listen to him as well. All right, so let's dive into our 4 laws of behavior change. We've got the cue, we've got the craving, we've got the response, and we've got the reward. So the cue is you've got to make it obvious. If your goal is to drink more water, you're going to put water bottles all over your house. So every room, on your nightstand, in the bathroom, in the kitchen counter, in the where you go to read your book, outside, maybe if you sit outside, make it obvious, make it as obvious as possible. Maybe, having a special water filter so that you can see it first thing when you open your fridge, but making it super, super obvious and available and easy to see is the first thing that we've got to do. So the craving, we've got to make it attractive. So we've got to make it look good. So how can we make it attractive? So if we have, for example, if you're trying to work out and it's not working for you, you don't love working out, maybe start with your outfit. Okay, well, I'm going to work out. I might as well get something I feel really cute in. So kind of pairing it with something that makes you feel good and it makes it a little bit more fun and a little bit more attractive. Let's see. The response, yes, definitely got to make it easy. So if your goal is to go to the gym or work out a little bit more, you got to make it easy. Have your gym clothes already in the car. Have your plan for what you're going to do at the gym already set up, because the brain loves clarity. If you say I'm going to I'll work out when I get there, but it's not clear, you're going to end up just going on the treadmill. I used to see that at the gym all the time. Brand new people walk in and they look left and they look right and they look terrified. So they just get on the treadmill. I want you guys to lift some weights too. So the only way to make it easy is to get into that course and check out the suggestions in the exercise module 5. Or get with me and I'll give you some easy tips. Or learn some exercise things to make it a little bit easier when you get there, so you know what to do to make it super easy. If you're learning to cook, pick some easy recipes to start with, and you can Google easy paleo or quick paleo, and that way if you start with something easy, you'll have a success that builds more confidence, that builds more momentum. It feels good. Now you're feeling good about the process. Now you're going to do it again. And then making it satisfying, making it beneficial, making it rewarding. So if you're trying to learn how to cook, pick out something that you're so excited about. This is what's really going to get you going. Another way to make exercise more exciting or satisfying is tracking it. I can't tell you how important tracking. You obviously tracking your food. It's very enlightening. We don't even realize if we were going to have a cookie, how many cookies we eat if we don't have to write it down. However, but tracking your exercise is I say it makes it more fun, because so if it's chest day and I'm doing push-ups and all I can do is like 5 wall push-ups, then the next time I'll do legs, next time I'll do back, then I'll do core. Then when I circle back and do chest again, I'm looking at my tracking. Okay, last time I did 5 wall push-ups. Maybe this time I can do 7. And then you beat your own little record, so to speak. And that feels good and that feels satisfying. And then when you track week after week after week after week, you can see, gosh, at the beginning of the month, I could only do 5 wall push-ups. Now I'm doing 3 sets of 5 floor push-ups. Look how far I've come. So you're showing yourself, and that feels very good, and that feels very satisfying. Tracking your products. and tracking your wins throughout the day. So if you're uncomfortable with the process and you're brand new, when you do something right, give yourself credit for it, give yourself a point, write it down. Every time you do something right, write it down. Say, I made a right choice for breakfast. I got up and I walked around the block. Every time you do something right, write it down because it feels good. And that is going to be what makes it satisfying. And if you want to stop a bad behavior, we've got to make it invisible. You can't see it. The cookie is not in the house. Can't find it. Don't see it. Because once we get that cue, it starts a trigger for us. If they're just in the cabinet, where every time we open the cabinet, they're screaming at us. You got to make it invisible, make it unattractive, put bugs on it, but make it unattractive, make it not so fun. Making it difficult. If I put the cookies outside in the garage somewhere else, give them to a neighbor, and I make it difficult, now I have to go to the store. Okay, so if I agree to allow myself that one cookie that one time, I got to get in my car, I got to drive to that cookie store. I'm going to get the one, special gourmet cookie. I'm going to have it. I'm going to be guilt-free and I'm done and it's over. But I made it really difficult, so it's not something I'm going to do very often. And then also make it not so enjoyable. Reminding yourself what happens in your body when we eat things that are full of gluten or full of sugar or full of dairy or any of those things. So making it not satisfying is a way to get away from that old habit. Also, James Clear talks about being patient. This is not an overnight, lose 20 pounds in 20 minutes kind of a thing. As you can see, this ancient Chinese proverb, one moment of patience may ward off great disaster, but one moment of impatience may ruin a whole life. So just be patient with yourself. If you trip up, if you, go off the rail for a minute, just get back on, let me know. We'll come up with a strategy, how to recover and what to do next. It's not the end of the world. We'll just get right back on track. The sooner you get back on track, the better it will be for you. That's what we call a little discipline. That's what we call a process goal, is just getting back on that track. All right, so we got the bonus round. So optimizing your environment. If your goal is to making sure that you're eating more fruits and vegetables, especially the vegetables, put them in your fruit bowl. So when I buy like onions and yams, things that don't need refrigeration, I put them in my fruit bowl so I can see them. It's a constant reminder, like, what can I make with onions or sweet potatoes or whatever the case. Or if it is fruit, an apple, whatever, it's there. It's a reminder, I can make baked apples. That's a fun, exciting idea. It tastes like apple pie without all the extra sugar. So optimizing your environment, like I said, water bottles everywhere, having your gym clothes laid out for you. So the first thing in the morning, you're going to just get on those gym clothes versus putting something else on. Optimizing your environment. 2-minute rule. So what does that mean? The 2-minute rule is when you break down a big thing that's very overwhelming and difficult and hard, break it down into 2-minute segments. So if you're trying to get yourself to the gym, for example, first you got to find directions, you got to find where it is, you got to, all the things, how much they're going to charge, what you're going to do when you get there, you got to figure out what to wear, all the things. It's like a big overwhelming thing. But if you go, well, what can I break down into 2 minutes? All right. Well, it takes me 2 minutes to Google, gym near me, or gym for women only near me, or boxing gym near me, or yoga studio near me. That I can do in 2 minutes. All right, that's doable. What else can I do in 2 minutes? I could put my tennis shoes on in 2 minutes. That's doable. So breaking down bigger things, or even if it's meal prep, well, it calls for some chopped carrots. Can I chop a couple of carrots in less than 2 minutes? Okay. So that way, when you chunk it down, it doesn't feel as daunting or difficult or as big of a deal. Just break it down into 2-minute things. Okay. So habit stacking. is when you're adding a new habit to an old habit. So if you have an old, like say an old habit, so you brush your teeth every morning. So maybe you put your before food supplements by your toothpaste. So every time you brush your teeth, because you're going to do that for sure every morning, that's your habit. That's when you take your appetite appeaser, your digestive enzymes, and your probiotics. That might be a way to stack something you're already doing with something that you want to become a new habit. So something you already done with the new thing you're trying to incorporate. Temptation bundling. That's where you put something that you love to do with something you're just not a fan of doing. So that could be something like listening to your favorite music when you work out, because you love this music. It just gives you so much joy. Or maybe it's a podcast while you work out, or something super inspiring that makes you just feel like you could conquer the world. That's a good temptation bundle to book to pair with your workout. If I put on a motivational tape and I have earphones when I go to the gym, I feel stronger. I literally feel stronger. Like just go past your, comfort zone. Go heavier. Let's see, how much heavier can I go? I got this. You kind of, it drives me. If you don't love meal prepping, but you love your soap opera, for example. Okay, I'm admitting one of my little guilty pleasures. I love my General Hospital. I know that's weird.
Gosh, I watched that long time ago. Luke and
Don't
Laura.
laugh at me, but if I allow myself to binge watch my General Hospital while I'm meal prepping, somehow it makes the meal prepping a little bit more fun. And now I can look forward to the meal prep because I get to see my show, for example. Or maybe you have a Netflix, they have a bunch of series on whatever that you've been watching, you know, something like that. So putting something that you love with something that's just not as much, not your favorite, but now you start to learn to connect the dots of the thing that you don't love as much, but connect it with something you do love. And now it starts to feel better when it's time to go do that thing that you don't originally love.
I used to ride the bike or walk on a treadmill, and I would only do it if I was reading my book.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I could only read the book if I was doing those two things. And so it was like,
Yes, that's perfect. That is exactly the perfect example. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And then we've got CCIA. Anyone want to guess? Consistent, committed, imperfect action. And again, this is our little process goals, our 1% better, even if it's imperfect, as long as you keep being consistent, committed, stay committed to the process. Okay, oopsie, I fell down, I forgot, I wasn't supposed to bread my chicken, or whatever the case may be. Just keep on going. Okay, well, how can I make this chicken healthier than breaded version? Okay, well, we can use this or we can use that, whatever the case may be. But consistent, committed, imperfect action will win the race. It's when we try to be perfect and I don't have the whole book memorized, so I can't start yet. No, just start. Just start and have your committed, consistent, imperfect action. So now we know we have to create new habits, but if you're brand new, like what habits should I create? Where do I start? What habits do I need to make sure I'm doing? So number one, know what or where your next meal is coming from. So for example, I know, because I meal prep on Sundays, as I said, and I meal prep my lunches. So I know exactly what's in the refrigerator for my lunch for today. I also know I have frozen chicken and frozen mahi-mahi and some cod and some shrimp in my freezer, along with some grilled veggies in my freezer. I also have salad. So I already know what I'm having for dinner. I just haven't decided on the protein. I'll pull it out after this call whenever I make that decision. But I already know that if you don't know where your next meal is, and all of a sudden it's 7:30, and all of a sudden now, oh, what's for dinner? That will end up, that will set you up for, Uber Eats, drive through, all the things we want to not do. So you've got to at least have an idea of some things that you already know you're going to have or already prepped. And again, your safety net is having your frozen proteins and veggies in the freezer, especially if they're individually wrapped. They don't take that long to thaw out. This is a good practice, and this is what changed my whole perspective on all my food. It changed my thinking about and the associations I had with foods. By the way, next week is creating new associations with food, and I'm also talking anti-aging. But one of the ways you can do that, creating new associations, is spending just a few minutes each day learning more about what's in your ingredients list. Or if your goal is to eat less sugar because you're now learning it is truly, truly a poison, but you have a little bit of a sugar addiction, if you spend a few minutes every day learning how sugar damages your body and ages your skin and affects your vision and affects your brain and your heart and your kidneys and your circulation and your cardiovascular system and your epithelial cells, if you read that every day for a while, it makes it harder and harder and harder to eat that sugar. You're going to start to find, okay, well, what else can sweeten my food? If I want a dessert, if I want a sweet, neat, sweet treat, let's get out that allulose and practice playing with that. Let's get out that monk fruit or stevia. Let's practice with that. I'm even happy with the erythritol if it doesn't bother your gut. But that's a real good habit to get into if you're having trouble letting go of your old favorites. Well, I use this as an example a lot, but I can't tell you how much I rely on it. I rely on this a lot, a lot, a lot. Always making sure that you have frozen proteins and veggies in your freezer. Costco is great. They have a lot of wild caught, individually wrapped cod and mahi and salmon and shrimp. It's great. And that's where I got my bag of veggies. And they're already roasted and it has asparagus in it. This is a new one I just got. Frozen cauliflower rice. That's a staple. And it takes less than 5 minutes to make. Always, always have that in your freezer. Setting a day and time and which body part you're going to work for your workouts. Brain loves clarity. So if you say, I'm going to work out 3 times this week, that's not clear. You don't know what, you don't know when. It's just probably not going to happen. So if you know you're going to work out in your living room, that's perfectly fine. I'm very happy with that. But you decide on which time, or just say after I finish this job, like if you're still working and you have to finish a report. So as soon as I finish that report, that's when I'm going to plug this in. You may not know if it's going to be done by 1 or 2, but if you know if you're going to have time after you finish that report or turn in that report or whatever it is, if you have a specific, the S in SMART. So be very specific for setting up your workouts, because otherwise they won't happen, especially if you don't love it. Try a new recipe at least once a month, ideally once a week. There's easy peasy ones that you can do that won't take you more than a few minutes even, starting with the protein pancake maybe. So yeah, trying new recipes. It's a great way to get excited about this new healthy lifestyle. If you have a recipe that sounds like something you used to eat, but you made it and you already know it was an unhealthy version, but you found a healthy version of it, eureka, it's back, whatever that thing was, And then focusing on the benefits of the food. What is this food doing for me? Shifting your perspective and not just, it's all about the flavor. We use food as a celebration. We use food as a comfort. We use food as a friend. We use food as a reward. So there's a lot of reasons we use food, but if you start to shift your focus, what is this doing for my skin? What is this doing for my gut? What is this doing for my brain or my heart or my health or my digestive, my microbiome? And you start to get excited about what these things are, your good microbiome and your good healthy skin and your good vision and your healthy brain, all of those things. And then lastly, just doing a little bit better next week than you did this week. What's one thing you can improve? So maybe you had a oopsie, you had a cookie. So maybe this week, just this week, we'll skip the any oopsies this week. I'm not saying anybody's going to be perfect. Or the exercise. If you did the 5 push-ups, maybe we're going to go to 7. Or maybe we'll make it a little bit harder by working your way to the kitchen counter or a bench or the floor or whatever. So improving just a little bit each week. All right, so I saved my funnies for the end. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
How do you make the protein pancake?
It's 1 scoop of protein powder and 1 egg. And I would say a teeny tiny pinch of salt. And then you can top it with some grass-fed butter and the Lakanto maple syrup. And eventually, when fruit does come back, you can add a few blueberries to it. That's really a good way to have it. Yeah, so that's a fun. And then you can practice using that as like a piece of bread. You can top it with your scrambled eggs and eat it like an open-faced sandwich. So there's lots of different things that you can do. Awesome. All right, so drinfantino.club, that's where you're going to find the course. That's where you're going to find the identity exercise. I encourage that you do that writing. That's also where you're going to find the exercise plan in Module 5. So does anybody have any other questions? There's some chat in here talking about tracking your steps. Yeah, tracking your steps with your smartwatch. It just makes it more fun. It just does. And even my mom, when I was doing the aging, I had to interview my mother, who's an expert in aging, because she's a firecracker. She's 86 and she's a firecracker. But she loves she calls it her technology. And even though she's 86, she goes, it makes taking the trash more fun because now she gets credit for her steps. So
my grandson actually was competing with my daughter-in-law, and in the middle of the night, my daughter heard something in the kitchen. He was going around and around in the kitchen so he would beat Aunt Rachel.
Oh, to get the steps in?
Yes.
That's cute. That's perfect. I love that. And competitions are another way to make it more attractive or more fun or more desirable. That's why a lot of like gyms do it, or sometimes places of work, they have a weight loss, competition just to kind of unite everybody and then at the same time create a little bit of competition. And it inspires us to do our better or to do our best or to make those improvements. And it's a great way for the company to keep you healthy.
But if you don't want to win, you don't win, then they don't want you to be in their group. So I did it with 2 other people, and then the one lady didn't want to do it with me because I beat her every time when I was tracking my steps.
Oh.
So I guess my grandson is like me.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she's a sore loser. So she had to do better. Just do better. All right. So anybody got anything else that doesn't have to do with habits or goals? Wow, the time flew today. My goodness.
How do you cook zucchini?
For me, I slice it and I put a little avocado cooking spray. And if I have fresh garlic, which I usually try to keep in my house, I'll put that in the pan, and or garlic powder, salt and pepper, sometimes lemon and capers, and just saute it in a frying pan. Sometimes I will shred it, and it really doesn't make like a hash brown, but it's kind of great. And I'll freeze that, the shredded, and then I can grab a handful of that and throw it in either a soup or a stir fry. And that way I just have another vegetable. I've added another green thing, which next week, by the way, next week is Labor Day. So Monday night, there will be no class. So next week will just be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All right, so I guess I will stop the recording since it looks like we're done. Thank you very much.